Hey folks, it's episode 256 of Geeking Out. I'm Jim. This is Julie, I believe.
Yes.
Because I've gone through so many co-hosts, it's hard to remember. But welcome to the show. We're going to start the show off a little differently this week with something I like to call the Review Crew.
Oh, I like it. Alright.
Where we basically review newly released DVDs, movies, video games, whatever we want to review that we both enjoy or dislike. So today we're going to start with My Little Pony, Equestria Girls. Yeah, I can hear you laughing. Shut up. Alright, so this was the sort of theatrical My Little Pony Friendship is Magic movie.
Yes.
That leads into the new series later on.
The full-length movie.
Yes, the whole 72 minutes of it.
I'm sorry, an hour and a quarter does not a full-length movie make.
And yet in Japan, they release anime films that are 30 minutes long in theaters.
That's a short.
Yeah, but
I'm sorry.
you're still paying full price for that. So,
well,
either way,
I will go on the record then to say I'm glad I don't live in Japan.
yeah, considering they have 30-minute movies too, but
Yeah. No, thank you.
anyway, let's discuss this film.
Alright. I'm gonna let you start because I don't have very many very positive things to say.
Alright, so, yeah, I will also say, as much as I enjoy it, it's a fun film.
It is. It's
but
adorable. It's great for small children.
Exactly the point, which is not us.
Exactly. I'm a big child.
Yeah, though I do like a lot of the pop culture references and stuff that
Mhm.
sneaks in and whatnot, which is always great and always hilarious.
Always appreciated.
But this is basically High School Musical with ponies.
Yeah.
And
More or less.
And all the characters are from almost like the world of Doug, if you remember that cartoon. They're all multicolored. So instead of ponies, they're people that are all multicolored
Yes.
now.
Yeah.
So instead of a magical realm, it's
accept that.
a high school, the most terrifying place on the
ever.
planet.
Yes. But I can very easily accept multicolored people. Mm-hmm. No questions asked.
Yep, we've had The Simpsons for over 25 years.
Exactly.
We can handle it, no problem.
No problem. Really, the only redeeming qualities for me were the bits where Pinkie Pie did things.
She was the best part. Yeah,
she was
honestly best part.
Hands down.
Anytime she's on screen, you get a good laugh or a chuckle.
Giggle.
Yeah.
I have to love that both Pony Pinkie Pie and Person Pinkie Pie, yes, the alliteration was intentional, both pranced everywhere they went.
Yep.
Just boingy, boingy, boingy.
Yep.
Loved it.
Only one has magical powers and the other does not.
Yes.
But
well, I don't know.
Kinda, sorta.
The power of friendship is strong with her.
Yes. But overall, I had fun with the film. It's just not a perfect film.
Exactly. I'll be right back, guys. I'm very sorry.
And we're back.
Sorry about that, folks.
We filmed this in a store that stays open during filming, so sometimes we have to go and deal with customers. So, sorry, but that's just how it goes, and I'll edit something weird or funny into there.
Maybe we'll splice in a picture of Pinkie Pie just saying, you know...
Or Derpy.
Be back in a moment. Yeah, Derpy works.
Yeah. Alright, so let's continue our discussion on Equestria Girls for just another minute or two.
Yes.
I enjoyed the musical numbers. At least the cafeteria song.
I enjoyed some of them, though I hated myself a little for enjoying them also.
Well, the thing is, I mean, they're done more in a standard style than the actual TV series is.
Okay.
So it's done in a more, well, today style than a mystical fantasy style. So I enjoyed that, and as much as I didn't like a lot of the songs, I could not help but get the damn cafeteria song in my brain.
Yeah. It gave me, like, warm fuzzies.
Yeah.
But I still kind of hated myself for it a little bit.
Just a tad, but...
Just that little bit.
Of course, things all work out in the end, and good triumphs over somewhat evil that's not really evil, just misunderstood, blah, blah, blah. But still, an overall somewhat fun film. So, if you're a fan of My Little Pony, check it out. It's actually pretty fun.
Or if you know somebody who's having difficulties making friends or anything like that, it's just a really good, wholesome after-school special type movie, specifically designed towards 5 to 7-year-old young girls.
Pretty much. We are not the target audience, but it's still actually a lot of fun for all the really fun references that it throws out at you, and that's pretty much all we have to say about that. So let's get to some comic reviews right after this.
Aren't you tired of seeing sharks? Well, Discovery Channel has a new week just for you! It's Platypus Week, where we discover just how drunk God was when he created the world's most perfect killing machine. That's right, the platypus. And thrill as we learn the secrets of how a platypus can stop world domination over summer vacation. All next week, only on Platypus Week on Discovery Channel. Science!
Did you even realize that the platypus is nature's perfect killing machine? I did not know!
I didn't know either, though I guess that his weekly defeat of the evil scientist should have been a tip-off for us.
Pretty much, and I mean, they're poisonous, so...
Makes perfect sense.
Yep.
I just never would have guessed.
Alright, so, we're back from commercial. Yeah, we're apparently sponsored now. But let's get to some comic reviews, shall we? Really quickly before something interrupts us again.
First up today is Trillium #1. This is from...
Don't you mean Trillium #1? Or Trillium #1? Or Trillium #1?
It's like an infinite loop, constantly.
Yes.
Perhaps while I review it, I'll just spin it. Because that's not distracting at all.
No.
Alright.
I should put up another picture of platypus.
So, first up is Trillium #1. This is one of... I'm going out on a limb, I think it's 8. I'm fairly certain that it's 8. If I'm wrong, Jim will correct me in the comments below. Or I will correct myself. In any case, this book is really done in a very interesting way. As you saw, it's a flip book, and we follow 2 different stories, and they meet in the middle.
Which is really neat. I like that idea.
I like it a lot, too. So in the first story, we're following scientist Nika, who is trying to communicate with an alien species so that she can
Always a great idea.
Yes! She needs to acquire a special white Trillium so that they can wipe out an intelligent virus that's been following them across the universe and trying to kill them. They've now run out of time, and they have run out of space, as the largest wormhole that they are familiar with is within sight. So, she now has 1 week to convince the aliens to work with her and allow her access to the flowers. On the other side, we follow a man by the name of William. Oh, sorry, I should say, Nika's story is set in the year 3797. William's is set in the year 1920 or so. And he has embarked on an expedition.
Great. More time travel stuff.
Yes.
This must be time travel month for us.
I think so. Do we get to time travel at the end of it?
Ooh. Maybe I can warn myself about starting this episode.
So, William's story follows him as he embarks on an expedition to find the lost Inca temple. And he's exploring with his older brother and another gentleman that I don't think we ever found out his name. He was just, every story's necessary worry wart C-3PO type character.
Yep.
And a token short round. and they are trying to find the lost temple. Somehow, their stories meet in the middle, and it's up to you to read it and find out how. I have to say, I've been looking forward to this book. I read about it. It has a really interesting premise. The premise carries through being interesting in the book.
Yep, and you have a very interesting concept with two stories meeting in the middle.
Yes, I love that this two stories meet in the middle. So, as for art, it's been written and drawn by Jeff Lemire, but Jeff Lemire writes a very captivating story. I find that his art takes some getting used to.
A little bit, yeah. I mean, it's very minimalistic.
Yes,
but it works for when...
Exactly. It works for what he does.
Yeah.
I enjoyed the story. I don't feel as though the art took anything away. So, I think, guys, that if you're not familiar or if you're hesitant about the art style, please give this a chance. I really think that you will all enjoy it. It's a fantastic story. I'm so intrigued to see where this is going to go and how they are going to deal with the fact that these two stories happen 2,500 years apart and a galaxy apart.
Yep. Alright, so next up we have Nightingale, Shadow Divisions, number 1 of 6.
Ooh.
And in this one, which is a continuation of the Nightingale series that was previously released by Arcana, which is no longer around, we follow Nightingale and her 4 Centurion companions who must use their combined powers to destroy Lucius and his invading army. But soon, Lucius is the least of their worries when Sakari, Queen of the Shadow Ravens, strikes.
Huh. Interesting.
So, this one's pretty fun. I liked the character in the first miniseries as well, and this one really evolves that plot that was from that miniseries, and you get a really good in-depth, basically, of each character. Which is good, because you need it when you're getting into a new series like this.
Yes. So
especially one that's been continued from...
You don't need to have read the first one to understand this one?
Not really. They have a nice kind of update type thing right in front.
Huzzah!
So you learn everything you need to know that goes right into the next story.
Well, that's fantastic.
Which is always a good thing.
Yes.
Because DC and Marvel don't do it enough.
No.
Alright. So artwork here is really nice. It's very vibrant and colorful. And the characters are a lot of fun as well. The writing is okay. There are some points where it's a little messy, but I still could get through it. So if you want to try out something a little different and that's fantasy flavor, try this one out. I quite enjoyed it.
Alright. Next up for me is Sidekick number 1. This is another Image number 1. So...
buy as many copies as you can because they're going to be sold out.
Yes, pretty much.
Yeah.
So in this, Flyboy is the sidekick of Red Cowl, right up until 2 events occur. 1,
his series is cancelled.
Flyboy saves the day.
Oh.
He flies a bomb up into the atmosphere and throws it into space and saves the entire city from, being an exploded pile of rubble and
so he did an
grossness.
Iron Man / Batman.
Yes.
Okay.
He did. The second thing that happened to him is that the next day at the honorary parade for Red Cowl was assassinated.
Oops!
Oh, I should throw in, at the press conference prior to the parade and assassination, Red Cowl makes this point about saying that Flyboy is no longer just a sidekick, and from now on he should be seen as a hero like everybody else.
So he got his promotion right before...
The only problem is that society doesn't seem to recognize this promotion. So now, Flyboy is left with nothing.
Ooh.
No money,
yikes.
no house, no access to gadgetry. He is left to ask for donations on Dreamstarter so that he can continue being a superhero.
Gee, I wonder what that's supposed to be a parody of.
And he's left to go to supercons and apply to be somebody else's sidekick. Right up well, that's all I'm going to give you guys, because anything else gets too spoilery, explainy. However, what I will say is that I enjoyed this book. The timeline is a little difficult to keep track of at times.
It is a bit messy at times.
It jumps around.
Yeah.
The art's a little messy sometimes. I will say that they're only little bit... this is rated M for mature, so their bits of nudity have been very tastefully done. I was not offended in any way, shape, or form.
It's all in silhouette or darkness, which is generally a good thing.
They've used a lot of shadow. We don't see any detail. Thank you for that. I didn't need detail, don't want detail. I appreciate the shadow work. And yeah, I enjoyed this. I'm really interested to see where it's going to go. And having been a long-time huge fan of Robin the Boy Wonder, I love seeing a book about a sidekick who was not able to make it to being their own hero and getting out of the...
Folks, you do not want to see Julie's wall. Nothing but Tim Drake everywhere.
You don't know me at all. Anyways, so...
That's your dungeon, right?
Yes.
Yes.
So, go out, check out Sidekick #1. It's interesting. There's a twist at the end that I think you'll all really enjoy.
It was Tim Drake all along! No.
Don't listen to Jim. He doesn't know what he's talking about.
Alright. Next up, we have Robocop Last Stand. #1 of 8.
8.
And in this one, the police force is no more. ED-209s and OCP officers run the streets, with OCP's vision for Delta City wildly underway. Well, Robocop may be the city's last hope, and it may also be his last stand.
I see what you've done there.
Yeah. Alright, so, do you know how I know that this is written or based off a Frank Miller script?
An overabundance of unnecessary violence.
Well, that's one, but he a lot of sexually explicit things with women, of course. Because it can't be a Frank Miller story without sexually exploiting a woman.
Have they used the wonders of shadow and art to tastefully exploit women?
No.
Well then.
Yeah. Alright, so this is basically the story of how the Robocop ends. This was going to be like the 4th Robocop film.
Okay.
A long time ago. That Frank Miller basically co-wrote with someone else whose name I cannot remember. But yeah, you can see pretty much where Frank Miller is in this story.
Okay.
And the story here is okay. It definitely feels like it is a Robocop finale story. But, as I said, there's way too much exploitation of women in this story. Even with a woman hero taking in at the end. It just doesn't feel good.
Yeah, that's how I felt when I was reading the book, is it just did not make me feel like a happy human being.
And I did not like it either. And as much as I like Robocop as a character, when it's got all this with it, it just makes it really kind of squicky.
Good word. Squicky.
Yeah. So unless you're a gigantic Robocop fan, I cannot...
Or a huge Frank Miller fan.
Yeah, for some odd reason. I don't know why, but unless you're that kind of person, then this really won't be for you. If you are that person, then sure, go right ahead. But honestly, not a great book. But still an interesting way to end the Robocop saga, as it were.
Well, my surprise pick of the week this week is Pathfinder Goblins #1. And again, I meant to check, I forgot to. I'll give Jim the information for the comments to find out if this is a mini-series or a new ongoing or if it's a one-shot. But, in any case, pick of the week right here. I'm fairly certain that this was the best book of the 6.
It was pretty darn fun.
It's pretty great. So, in this one, Goblins is composed of 2 short stories. The first one includes a troop of goblins who ambush a dungeoneering group just after their successful plundering. Raid's a good word, thank you. And they steal from them a magic eye, shaped like a D20. Which, just right there, second page, huge giggles as I realized, wait a second, all of this stone is entirely composed of sides that are triangles. Doesn't that make this a D20?
Yep.
And yeah, I loved that. So the story revolves around the goblins, how to put this mildly. The goblins disagree about who has rightful ownership of the eye.
Yep. Because, well, they're goblins.
After the eye has been placed in one of the goblins' heads. Yeah. So, it's a little bloody. I shouldn't even say that it's a little bloody.
Comedically bloody, like Gremlins.
Exactly. You don't see blood. You don't actually see much of anything violent.
Yeah.
You see a little bit of aftermath. And it just gets silly so fast. In the second one, an old wizard who runs a reformarium has decided...
It's a word, look it up.
that he is going to reform goblins for use as servants in the city's elite.
Nothing can possibly go wrong.
Both of these stories are absolutely fantastic. The art is great. The tone of all of the speech is perfect. They give you a couple of pages at the back of character information, some things for use in your Pathfinder story so that you can use the tools that are used. It's just a great story. I've been told that it's a 1 of 5, so I think you guys should all go out, especially if you are a D&D fan, a Lord of the Rings fan, a Pathfinder fan, you like fantasy RPGs, anything like that. This will appeal to a very, very wide base of fantasy fans.
Yep. And it's pretty darn hilarious as well.
It's so good. So yeah, pick of the week right here, Pathfinder Goblins.
Alright, and last and certainly not least this week, we have Princeless, Tales of Girls Who Rock, which is a one-shot.
Nice.
Finally, a series we don't have to tell a number for. Alright, and this one, which features 3 stories, including The Girl with the Giveaway Ears, in which an elf princess tries to escape an angry mob.
Oh, I get it.
Uh-huh. Waiting, in which a desert princess tries to catch Adrian to collect her bounty, and Kira's First Hunt, in which Kira must lead the pack through a dangerous trial. Alright, so out of the 3 stories, I only really like one.
That's unfortunate.
The storytelling is good here. It's just the art that makes these stories suffer.
It hurts
and I
a
hate
little.
saying it, but it's true. The story for The Girl with the Giveaway Ears is a lot of fun, and the artwork is frantic and also fun. And it really works with that story. The art for Waiting is terrible. And I hate saying that about really any artist,
I wasn't going to go with terrible. I was going to say that it was a little immature.
Yeah, it was pretty unprofessional looking, if anything. And did not really
I don't feel as though it helped the story.
No, it certainly did not. And the artwork for Kira's First Hunt, which was all painted, worked for the most part. It just was really dark.
It was very dark.
So it didn't really help in the aspect of trying to tell who characters were and everything like that.
I did enjoy the painted style.
Oh no, it's a really nice looking style. It just, maybe if it was a little tad brighter, it would have been a little better. But overall, it was okay. It's not the best Princeless has offered us, but if you're a fan of Princeless, check it out, because you get 3 more stories from this universe, which is always a good thing. But yeah, the second story is really not that good. I really hate saying it, but it's true. Alright, so that brings us to the end of another episode brought to you by Discovery Channel's Platypus Week, coming soon. We will see you next week. Have a good one.